Okay, we're going to go ahead and get this presentation started at 6:35. Just as a reminder to our team and to the folks that are listening in here, that this meeting will be recorded, and for the purposes of being able to post it up to our website after this meeting has concluded. Again, just welcome everybody here this evening. Brandon will, Brandon with Shock with RDA will get us started here. And Brandon, would you like to go ahead and get the presentation off the ground and get us rolling?
Sure, Kyle. Thank you. Welcome to the Partner Desk meeting for Otterdale Road Drainage Improvement Project, Horsepen Creek Crossing number 1. We're going to have 2 presentations tonight, one at 6:35 now and the other at 7:15. And the 7:15 will be a repeat of this one here. We'll have a brief question and answer period at the end of our presentation. If you'll take a moment, you can use the chat function on your computers and mobile devices. We will address those at the end of the presentation, but also note at the bottom of the screen, we have a website link, Otterdale Road DrainageImprovements.com. You can get more information on the project there. Again, my name is Brandon Shock. I'll be the host for tonight's meeting. Amongst a few other speakers tonight, we have representatives from Chesterfield County, Kokosan Construction Company, and Rinker Design Associates. Nate Mathis is the senior engineer for Chesterfield County's Transportation Department, and I'll let Nate go ahead and introduce the folks we have from the county in attendance.
Thank you so much, Brandon. Yes, my name is Nate Mathis. I'm the project manager for this project, Otterdale Road Drainage Improvements. We have been working long and hard since we last talked to the public last spring. So we are very excited to be at this point and have a great team on board. We do have some representatives from the county leadership. We do have Mr. Winslow, who I see is on. Didn't know if you wanted to say a few words, Mr. Winslow.
Good evening, everyone. I'm glad to be here. Thank you for your work on this project. Looking forward to this meeting.
Excellent, excellent. And I think Mr. Carroll may join us a little later. I'm not sure he's on at the moment, but Planning Commissioner Mr. Owens is on. I don't know, Mr. Owens, if you want to say hello.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the call. I'm as anxious as you to hear about these improvements.
Very good. We also have several other county representatives on the call. Transportation Director Brent Epps is on the call. We also have Deputy County Administrator Jesse Smith. We have Assistant Transportation Director Chessa Walker. And we have some folks from our fire department. We have Chief Fitch is here. Oh, I see Mr. Carroll just joined us. Mr. Carroll, I just didn't know if you wanted to say hello. We were just at the beginning part doing introductions. Mr. Carroll, I didn't know if you had a chance, if you wanted to unmute and just say hello briefly.
Sure. Good evening, everyone. Sorry, I'm just getting into the meeting now. I was in another meeting, but I look forward to the presentation and hopefully we'll be able to answer everybody's questions. So I'll let it get back to the information part.
Yep. Thank you so much, sir. So from fire, we have Chief Fitch. He'll be on to answer any questions regarding that. From Chesterfield County Schools Public Transportation, for the bus transportation, we have Janine on to answer questions regarding that. We also have, let's see, we have several consultants that are helping us out on this as well. We have a lot of folks from JMT. We have Mike Shiflett, who's our lead designer for the Horsepen crossing. We have Alice Ortman, who can answer drainage questions. We have Larry Brown, who's going to be managing the construction oversight for the county. We have Carter Teague, who's our professional environmental he's handling the permits from the environmental standpoint for JMT. And I believe that's everyone from JMT and from the county that we have on the call. So I'll turn it back over to you, Brandon, and if you want to join on, introduce the team over there at Kokosing, I guess, or is Kyle?
I'll take care of that, Nate.
Okay.
So hello, everybody. Again, my name is Kyle LeClaire. I'm working with the general contractor here, Kokosing Construction Company. We were awarded the contract by the county to build the Horsepen Creek crossing, and then also to design build the second and third crossing, Blackman Creek and Otterdale Branch. So we look forward to building this project. And also on the phone with us is Ryan Gorman. He's our design build project manager. Chris Ruckey, as an introduction, he's actually, I believe, traveling right now, so he wasn't able to make it on the call, but he's our deputy design build project manager. And then my role in the job is on the design build sections of the project is to work with our engineering partner, Rinker Design Associates, and be the go-between and coordinating that design with the construction. So that's my role in the job. And with that, Brandon, I will hand it over to you to introduce your team.
Thanks, guys. I'll keep this pretty brief. We have Daryl Fisher, who is the design manager for Rinker Design Associates. I am, again, Brandon Schock, deputy design manager, and we also have Tom Blazer, our public relations manager. Tonight's agenda is to discuss the purpose of the project, the schedule, and do an overview of the construction efforts at Horsepen Creek. Also, we'll touch on the detour and the construction impacts. During the presentation, we've mentioned before, if you have questions, use the chat function at the top, and I just highlighted in red, to ask your questions, and we'll address those at the end of the meeting. So the purpose of the project is to alleviate flooding at 3 of the crossings along Otterdale Road. As Kyle mentioned, the county's entered into contract with Kokosing Construction Company to build Horsepen Creek. That design was developed by JMT for the county, and construction plans have been approved with all the necessary environmental permits, and right-of-way has been cleared for construction to begin next month in March. Blackman, crossing number 2, and Otterdale, crossing number 3, are currently being designed and finalized by Rinker Design Associates, and Kokosing Construction Company will construct those as well. So for tonight, we're focused on Horsepen Creek crossing number 1. It's noted with the red star, and we will have additional meetings for crossings 2 and 3 at a later date. So as we've noted, the county's provided notice to proceed for Kokosing to begin construction in February. Tonight, we're having our part in our dust meeting. And the purpose is, again, to go through the detour route and what to expect during construction. For Horsepen Creek's construction, it'll begin March 14th and extend through October of 2022. During this time, the detour will be in place, which we'll discuss in more detail later. For the second crossing, Blackman Creek, we'll have another partner dust meeting in October of 22. Again, followed by a similar detour, the road will be closed between November 2022 and June of 23. We'll have a third meeting for Otterdale Branch and Otterdale Branch on May 2023. And then again, the road will be closed between June of 2023 and January 2024. The project's completion is going to take place no later than May of 2024. You guys still seeing my screen?
Yes, Brandon, we are.
Yes.
Yeah. What are you seeing? The presentation? I'm sorry.
Yes. Yes, sir. You must have had a glitch on your side, but yes, sir, we're seeing your screen, your presentation.
I do have a glitch on my screen. So let's see if I can fix, because I can't see my screen. In May of 2024. So each crossing has a contract requirement to be closed no longer than 7 months, and construction of each crossing will be sequential, so the detour will be in place for the duration of the project. Are you guys seeing the bridge, slide number 7?
Not at this time, Brandon. It looks like it's not turning right now. At least on my screen, it's not.
All right, let me try.
I'm looking at the project schedule, Brandon.
All right, try this again. You guys see slide number 7?
Not yet, Brandon.
Hey, Brandon, stop sharing and then share again.
All right.
It's not a virtual meeting without a hiccup.
There you go.
Oh,
Yeah,
folks,
you're seeing it now.
Glad I asked the question. So before we get into the detour, let's take a look at the proposed improvements. Horsepen Creek currently has 2 existing 48-inch culverts under the roadway. These culverts are severely undersized, as evident in the continued roadway flooding during rain events. This project will construct a 2-span bridge over the existing crossing. The project will, the bridge will be able to pass the 100-year flood underneath of the roadway. The hydraulics considers both the existing upstream conditions and the future build-out conditions consistent with the county's comprehensive plan. The improvements here are intended to fix the solution or fix the existing conditions, and for now and in the future. The roadway elevations at the stream crossing are being raised approximately 8 feet, and these will be tapered out over about approximately 800 feet south of the bridge and 600 feet north of the bridge. And this is better displayed in the next slide. And I want to point out at the website address below, you can download the information that's being presented tonight. You can get some additional information as well, but these renderings and presentations are all there. So the yellow shaded area generally depicts the roadway alignment that is being improved. The stream improvements here are in gray, with the bridge shaded in orange. Mainly, we're tying into the existing road grades at either end, and we're gently bringing the roadway grade up to about 8 feet at the stream crossing. Other improvements also include some horizontal alignment corrections, as well as providing 5-foot paved shoulders on both sides of the road, which taper down to the existing roadway width at each terminus of the project. As noted earlier, the county has acquired all of the right-of-way and easements needed to construct Horsepen Creek. The utilities are currently performing relocations, and some of this will be concurrent with the roadway construction as we begin. So also on the website, we have some renderings of what the proposed condition in the top left will look like, and in the bottom right is the existing condition. You can note the stream improvements that we're doing here, the 2-span bridge, the nice new paved roadway with 5-foot shoulders and guardrail on both sides. These all are being done constructed under a detour, and with that, I do want to give Kyle an opportunity to talk about the detour and how Kokosin is going to construct this project.
All right, thank you, Brandon. As you can see from the exhibit here, I'm going to point out a few neighborhoods just to get everybody's bearing here. So, Brandon, if you don't mind pointing to those, if you can. If not, I'll describe it. In the center of the screen, upper middle, is Westerly, and to the right of that is Summer Lake. These are the neighborhoods that will live obviously along Otterdale Road in this particular region that will be affected by this road closure. You can see the area in orange there. At least it appears orange to me. On the screen, that is the location of Horsepen that will be closed. And during the closure period, we will be detouring traffic away from this area. There will not be any crossing here. It will be basically a complete 100% closure. And what we'll be doing is directing traffic. If, let's say, those in Summer Lake or Westerly want to make it out to Hall Street near the Publix there at Otterdale and Hall Street Road, if you need to go that direction, we will direct you to the north on Otterdale, taking a right on Genito Road, down to Woolridge, again, taking another right on the Woolridge Road, and then back to Otterdale to make the left there to be able to make it to the Hall Street Otterdale intersection for the publics there, if that's your destination, or anywhere along Hall Street. There will be sufficient signs all through this corridor to direct folks through this area. These signs will be basically throughout the corridor, so you'll direct you around in and around this. If you all have noticed out there, we have stuck or placed, a better term here, placed some variable message signing out there that was put out there on Monday. That's one way that we use for communication as commuters come through and whatnot. You'll periodically be seeing those signs as things change or updates are provided. We always go back to this website, the Otterdale Road Drainage Improvements.com. This is where you can also get more up-to-date timelines and schedules on the project as well. So in the vicinity of this detour route, there are several intersections that we have looked at. And Brandon, if you don't mind going to the next slide. The county team and the consultants assisting the county have looked at these intersections, and part of the program here is also to do signal timing adjustments of these intersections. The goal here is to help these intersections flow as smoothly as possible. Part of our contract also is to observe these intersections to make sure that additional timing is not required, or timing adjustments are not required. VDOT has been involved in this process. I know the county has done a significant amount of coordination and making sure that this type of coordination is done. It's ultimately VDOT who gets in the cabinets and makes the signal adjustments. So this is an ongoing thing. So you'll expect to see those signal timing adjustments. You probably won't even notice it when you drive through, but it's something that we're actively monitoring at these two particular intersections: the intersection of Woolridge Road in Otterdale and the intersection of Woolridge Road and Genito. Mind going to the next slide, Brandon? So there's a lot more information that's available to you all on the website. In particular, there is the PDF brochure that typically we would hand this out in an in-person meeting. Unfortunately, just given the current circumstances, the county and our team elected to do this virtual. Our plan and intent is on the next Partner Dust meeting is actually have a face-to-face meeting. I know I'm personally looking forward to that. I do much better when I'm shaking somebody's hand or smiling at them. But until then, there is a lot of information on our website, in particular the brochure that gives a lot more details, some of which we cover tonight, but give you more time to review those details and have that information readily available to yourself. So, Brandon, would you mind pulling up the website just really quickly here? I think this is where we decided to do this. So one of the requirements the county has us doing as the contractor here is to set up a project website where we can provide continual updates and alert the public of certain aspects of the job. When you go to the website, you can actually click on any of the creek crossings. Right now, we have information on Horsepen Creek because that's the one that we're getting ready to build. As you work your way down the website, there's additional information, construction schedule information, that's generality there of what's coming up, and also the active detour. Now, folks have asked me periodically, does the detour change by which crossing we're doing? And basically, no, we're always detouring folks down Woolridge Road. It's just a matter if where you live on Otterdale, which direction you take. Obviously, if you live north of Horsepen Road, you're going to go to the north. If you live south of Horsepen Creek, you'll take the southerly direction if you want to head north and go around to the Woolridge if you want to head towards Westchester, of those areas, those shopping centers to the north. Also on that right-hand part of the screen also was where we will do more of a blast of just current information, things that you may see out there or something like that, just updates similar to what we'll probably put on a Twitter feed. We would also put there as well. I'll talk about that in a second. As you scroll down, we want to highlight this as well to you, that if you have any questions, obviously we want to hear your questions tonight over chat and be able to try to answer those the best of our ability tonight. But if you have further questions, you can certainly put your name and your email address here, and we're monitoring this. It goes directly to our team. And with the county's assistance, we'll return a question very quickly. In addition to that, we've also added a subscription here. Our intent is also to put out a monthly, just kind of an update, a little bit more in depth where we stand in construction, a little bit more with photographs, just to keep you all apprised, the public apprised, especially those along the corridor there, how we're doing, what's going on, and just some of the bigger events that will take place in that corridor as we continue the construction through the first and second and third crossings. We also have a Twitter feed on this that we are blasting out certain information that is also available to you as well, which is the icon is at the bottom of the website there, just to make you aware of that as well. Brandon, if you would mind going to the next slide or going back to the slides here. So this is the time where we would love to hear some questions or comments. I know I've been kind of looking at the corner of my eye here and seeing some chats come through, so I appreciate the questions so far. Andrew, I think I see one question here, and you can tell me if there's more. But will Otterdale be closed starting at Westerly Parkway or beyond? Technically, the road will be closed at the actual crossing. So you'll see for local traffic, there will be some barricades. I wouldn't even call them barricades, some signage that's a little bit more significant up near the roundabout at Genito. I'm assuming you're coming from the north if you're in Westerly. And as you head south, you'll see the typical sign that says road closed, local traffic only. And there's usually a mile distance down the road, like 1.4 miles down the road or something like that, but open to local traffic only. So technically the road will be open for this first phase, Horsepen Road or Horsepen Creek. Apologize, I keep saying road. Horsepen Creek will be open to local traffic down to where the bridge actually is, and you'll see more significant barricades where you get to the bridge.
Brandon, would you pull up the detour map?
Yeah, I was getting ready to ask.
Speak from a picture.
Yeah, I was getting ready to ask Kyle.
That way we can point to stuff with your red dot.
Yeah, I can talk at the wall. So yeah, there you go. So the first barricade it's not barricade. The first signage you'll see about alerting that local traffic only will be at the intersection of the Genito and Otterdale where the roundabout is. As you head south on Otterdale, there might be another barricade sign just south of Westerly there. Again, local traffic only beyond that point. And then actually at the closing itself, there will be definitely barricades there. We don't want anybody coming into the work zone. So hopefully that answers your question. If there's any follow-ups after that, certainly continue to type away. Andrew, I think you're monitoring the chat. Can you read off any other questions you might that we've seen so far?
Yes.
Or any follow-ups that's required?
Yes. There was a comment next. 21 months is a considerable amount of time, considering the road has not flooded since the culvert pipes have been cleaned out.
Yeah, I think that's a good thing that you bring out as well. And I'm going to focus on your last point here before I address your first point. Last point is the culverts being cleaned out. What the county has required us as the contractor within the first 6 months of commencement of the project that we have to do some maintenance work so that if there are flood events, the likelihood is less likely that there will be an overtopping event. As you know, this has been an ongoing issue. I just live myself personally. I live off this corridor and travel this corridor quite a bit and been hindered by the floodings that do take place. And you're correct. It hasn't happened significantly in the probably year and a half, although this Horsepen Creek crossing does flood a lot more regularly. But the county's requiring us to do sediment cleanup at Otterdale Branch. We were down there recently and there is some sediment buildup. And if I remember correctly, some logs that have built up in front of the inlet of that culvert. So we have to clean that and open that system up a little bit more. In addition to that, on the Blackman Creek crossing, there's always some significant run onto the road from the drainage coming up off the hill for the fire station. There's a ditch that runs all the way down through there and it kind of encroaches on the road during larger events. We also have to go in there and do a pretty significant cleanup, improvement of that channel just so we can prohibit that water from coming on the road on a regular basis. So we're trying to make it less likely that water is going to encroach onto the road. So those are some maintenance things that are required of us to do in this early on in this contract. 21 months. If I lived in those neighborhoods, yeah, I agree. It's going to be a long time, and it's one of these ideas, short-term pain for long-term gain. Obviously, this has been an issue in my understanding because I've lived in this area for a long time, but I know the county's excited about getting this completed. Nate, you might be able to address that a little bit more on the duration and whatnot if you want to add to that.
Yes, I'm trying to get to the information we presented last May about the frequency of the flooding has been a problem. I can't find that data at the moment, but there has been the flooding has been problematic over the past 10 years, and that is why the board in 2020 allocated the funding for this project, as well as several other drainage improvements throughout the county to address this situation in an ultimate design configuration, which is one of the reasons why we are putting in a 2-span bridge and not just constantly cleaning out the undersized culverts. We elected to do, the board elected to provide the funding to do the ultimate fix and not just the Band-Aid fix for each of these 3 crossings.
Andrew, which question would you like us to take next?
All right. The next comment was a request to address the volume of traffic turning around, including Chesterfield County Public School Transportation, which has not made modifications to bus routes.
Okay, very good question. I will say this, that one of the requirements that the county has put on us is to hold a stakeholders meeting, and which we did last Friday. That's with EMS, fire, police, and Chesterfield County Public School Systems, including their transportation group. So that has been an ongoing thing. I know the county has been talking about this with them for some time. Nate, do you want to field the rest of that question there and maybe talk about that from a bus transportation perspective?
Yes, we have been frequently coordinating with county schools bus transportation, and on the meeting today, we do have Janine Hoover, who I didn't know if she could speak a little bit to some of the action plans they're trying to put into account in the background that they're developing. Janine, if you want to speak to that just briefly.
Yes, we are right now preparing and designing new routes to accommodate this closure, and this information will be communicated to parents like the week before the closing happens. That way parents can prepare for it.
Very good.
Very good. I might need a little bit more information on the volume of traffic turning around. I don't know if that is those that head down to Otterdale and then require, oh no, the road's closed and require to be turned around somewhere. The signing at the entrance of or at the Genito Road Otterdale roundabout with the local signing hopefully will alert folks who are not aware of the closing to follow the detour routes prior to actually getting down the road and having to turn around. So if that's
Brandon, I'm sorry, Kyle. Brandon, do you mind putting your red dot on where the first signs people will see? Because people will see signs at the Genito intersection. There'll be signage right there, and as well over at the Woolridge and Otterdale intersection. There'll be signage right at that intersection. When people come through, they'll be able to see that that road is closed. Hopefully, right now they're seeing the variable message sign, helping them know what's going on. But the burials will be at locations where you can turn around. Either at Westerly Parkway or at a driveway at the very least, if you end up ignoring the 2 sets of signs that you passed.
very well. Andrew, what about the next question?
All right. The next question is, does a delay in completing crossing number 1 impact the start of crossing number 2 and thus extending the start of crossing number 3 as well?
Yeah, and I can, Nate, you'll probably have to follow up here with I know the county has put a lot of requirements in our contract. So we have allowed 7 months for each closing. If we go beyond the 7 months, there's liquidated damages, or I call them liquidated damages, but there's damages to the contract for us financially if we go beyond that day. If we go, if crossing 1 extends, the county also has incentives for us to finish early. So those are things that contractually the county has put on us to incentivize us or disincentivize us from being early, which is good, and also being late, which is not good. So those are the things that the county's put on the contract to help us to get through this project efficiently. And Nate, you certainly can add on to that because you put the contract together with your team over there. So
yes, and so Kyle's correct about we are using both carrots and sticks to ensure that we can get our time frame met. We have found that when we just use sticks, we don't quite get as good conformance to schedules on our contracts. But no, the answer is no. Each of these will be closed separately. We want to make sure that we are completely done with one crossing before we move to the next, because we want those crossings completely ready for traffic before we close on another one. And that is in effort to make sure that we have a complete job each time we move through the sequence. This is basically a project bundle, 3 projects in one. And we want to, but we get the efficiency of having one contractor who's very experienced at building bridges, and they're in here. That's one of the reasons we did a qualified procurement to get a very good contractor on here, and as well as these incentives that help us make sure we meet our schedules and improve on some of our past experiences in this area, which did, I will fairly admit, went a little longer. So.
All right, Andrew, what's the next one? I see there might be one more.
Yeah, so there's one more question at this time. When will the Otterdale branch culverts be cleaned out?
Yeah, so the requirements in the contract is we have to do that within 6 months of commencement of the job. And so what will happen is once we get closer, I know right now we're waiting on what we call nationwide permits, environmental permits, to be able to do that. Anytime we go into a stream and clean out in a situation like this, that we have to pull environmental permitting. And so we're awaiting those permits. I know they've been applied for. It does take a month or so to get those. Once we get closer to when that exact date is, we'll probably put a blast out there on social media, the project website, to make sure that folks are alerted that we will be working off to the side there in that area. We don't anticipate any complete closures during that time. There might be an interim lane closure in off-peak times, but for the most part, that is not a complete closure when we're doing the maintenance work. Andrew, are there any other questions that might pop up?
That is all of the questions for now.
Okay, we'll monitor it here for another second. Let's, Brandon, can you go back to that last slide there? Just want to point out a few things. Just there you go. So just to remind those that are in attendance here, love to hear from you. We have that, which we reviewed over the website, the ability to submit questions. We do encourage you to do that. In addition, Nate Mathis is always available here to be able to take emails and answer questions, and any feedback he gets, he's always passing it on to us so we can be better or make changes, whatever's required for us. And then also we wanted to list Neil Tolley here. He's a JMT on-site owner representative. You will see the JMT truck. They're out there making sure us as the contractor are doing all the right things. He's the county representative on site. So we did include his information there just in case there's something that pops up there that we prefer to go through the county or the project website so we can answer questions. But if there's immediate emergency situation, Neil Tolley is available for those type of situations. So with that, Brandon, I don't think there's another slide here, but remind me if there is.
Just one.
Just
so
one.
Please, visit our website and follow us on Twitter. We're going to have a repeat of this presentation at 7:15.
Yeah, so we can set here, and if those in attendance have another question, feel free to chat and bring it in. We'll be happy to answer it, but it will be a little quiet here for at least 7 minutes or so. But I appreciate you all being in attendance, and I know from us as the general contractor, and also me personally, who lives off this corridor, I'm really excited to be part of the project and being able to see these bridges get built. Nate, you might have some final words there you might want to add before we go to a little slight intermission here.
I definitely appreciate everyone's input, and definitely thank you, Kyle and Brandon. We're excited to have your team on board. This is a very high-performing contractor that we have on board, very highly qualified, has an excellent reputation. They're local. Their offices are in Chesterfield County. We are very excited about that as well. So this is for us, it's a big win all around. So we're off on a good foot. We're at a good start. So we're very encouraged.
We do
All right.
We do have one comment. Thank you. Great presentation.
Always appreciate the encouragement. I have a saying that everybody is always under encouraged. So appreciate that. with that, we'll probably go to the short intermission. So you'll probably see us on video here, but not saying a whole lot until 7:15.